So in this video, we're going to discuss buying a property through a limited company or through a trust. So why do people consider buying through a company? Let's just give you some headline stats. There are 5 million companies in the UK, and every year 500,000 companies are created. There are lots of questions around tax, inheritance and long-term planning when it comes to buying a property through a company. But they can be a really efficient way, but it's not automatically the right move for everybody. But essentially, yes, a company can buy a property in the UK. So how does the structure work? This is really important. The company owns the property, not the individual. Okay, so the company, not the individual, owns the property. Now, of course, shareholders own the company, not the bricks and mortar. The company has to handle things like tax, management, and compliance. And it often involves setting up something referred to as an SPV, which is a special purpose vehicle. Now, anyone that's set up a company will know it's quite straightforward. There are things you need to do. You need to choose a name, you need to register that name with Companies House. You then need to appoint directors and you need to appoint shareholders. You then need to prepare core documents, things like a memorandum and articles. You then need to correctly pick an SIC code, which is crucial for lenders. We'll come to that later. And then you also need to prepare for ongoing administration, things like accounts, statements, and record keeping. There are, of course, key advantages for owning a property within a company and disadvantages. We're going to do both simultaneously. So the key advantages first, let's start with the good stuff. Tax efficiency. Corporation tax rates are often lower than higher rate personal tax. So that's one. Number two could be mortgage interest relief, as companies can deduct interest as a business expense. And finally, three, inheritance planning. Shares can be passed on much more flexibly than property can be passed on. Now let's do the disadvantages. We'll stick to three again. Mortgage access. Fewer lenders enter the market for lending to companies. Higher rates are often paid and personal guarantees are typically required. Secondly, the burden of administration. It is a burden. Accounts, filings, compliance, plus ongoing accounting costs. And three, it is much more complicated to unwind transferring back to personal ownership, triggers taxes and fees. It's much more complex than for single property owners. There is an alternative to buying through a company, and that's buying through a trust. Here, 3 roles need to be determined, and that is a trustor, a trustee, and a beneficiary. I'll cover what those are in a second. Within a trust, you can protect assets from third-party claims. Potential stamp duty and capital gains advantages can apply in specific scenarios, but they do still come with tax obligations and mortgage challenges. So what is a trustor? A trustor is the person putting the property into a trust. What's a trustee? A trustee is someone with control over the property. And the third one was a beneficiary. This is the person who will benefit from the property. Hey Simon, do you recommend buying a property as a company? I can't make that recommendation, unfortunately. What I can suggest you do is run the numbers and look at the long-term plans and do they justify the structure? Because it can be a really smart way to buy property. For many people, the admin does outweigh the benefits unless they're starting to build a property portfolio. Always weigh the tax perks against the complexity. If you make all of those decisions or you need some assistance with that, get some legal advice or pick up the phone and give us a call. Simon at Fine Living. Thanks guys.